Hi everyone, hope you're all good. So today's video is going to be a little shorter than usual, and if anyone was stalking my Instagram stories last weekend, you'll have seen I was shooting a lovely couple called Gina and Jamie at the Parlour of Blagdon in Newcastle. Such a lovely couple. The lighting conditions for this venue was perfect, as predominantly it's an outdoor venue, and as you can see from these photos on screen, they had their ceremony inside, but then confetti and drinks reception took place outside. But the majority of the day was cloudy grey, and early doors before the ceremony there was that misty rain that's just annoying. Thankfully the weather cleared up. So obviously I'd already done my 5 minutes of portraits earlier in the day, but after the meal we had some time to kill, so I suggested creating a couple more relaxed portraits, but this time I'll create a sunset for them. They were like, really? How? And I was like, I'm a wizard, Harry. Honestly though, I never said that, and I need to stop saying it on the channel before it becomes a catchphrase. So I grabbed the couple and a helpful groomsman, as I'd already scoped out the area and placed the flash where I wanted it. I knew I needed it to be a bit higher, hence the groomsman, or voice activated light stand as we like to call them in the industry. It's worth saying at this point there was no mag mod or gels used, just a simple magnetic dome diffuser. You'll never see any of the old style off-camera flash shots I used to create. This is the first off-camera flash shot I've done in probably 18 months. And it was only used because I was using it in a natural fashion. You'll see what I mean in a moment. So I'm going to play a little behind the scenes video of my thought process and how it all went down from my iPhone I took on the day. There'll also be some behind the scenes footage from the Osmo action that was on top of the camera when I did the actual photographs. I'll then bring up the final photo and walk you through how I edited it to achieve a natural look and a relaxed sunset portrait on a very grey day. During the editing process, I'll also show you how I switched out the bottom part of the bride's dress so that her legs were more tapered. So stick around for that, and I hope you enjoy. And before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go. Hi guys, so a rare video of actually on location. Sorry if you can hear the traffic right next to the motorway. So we're doing a bit of off-camera flash. It's been a while. We're not doing anything creative in terms of like colored gels and things like that. We're going to try and shoot how I shoot now, which is very natural and just hold hands, go for a walk. However, it's a very grey day. We can see there's no sun at all. There's going to be no sun. I've checked on the sun app, so it's just behind all this grey. So we're going to bust out our own sun. So that's what I'm going to do today with the off-camera flash. So I don't need to do anything miraculous. We just need to position the flash in the correct place. So I've come around the front of the building and we're going to scout it. So this is the driveway. So I'm going to get them to walk along this side here, and I'll probably shoot from over here. So that sort of view. So what I'm going to do is position the flash right on this corner here, and then just with the frame and the composition of the image, I can make the sun look like it's bleeding in from that side. So what I'm going to do is show you where I positioned the flash. So the flash, you can see, is going to be there. It's like literally hidden just behind. So it's right on the corner. So I'll probably fire that at like half power, full power. I haven't put any gels on it because the light that comes out of the flashes actually is a little bit orange anyway. But I'm getting attacked by flies. It's quite a cool day anyway, because there's no sun. So it's not blue, but it's got blue tones. So I can lift the entire image anyway. Just to make it look like a sunset, I'm just going to lift the warmth in post. The trick is to then have the light on the floor and the shadows to actually make it look like the sun was coming through. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to position that light over there. I've got my other flash on the camera. So here's the setup. So I've had the GoPro, Osmo Action, recording all day today for the behind the scenes, and then we're going to use the other V1 to trigger. So yeah, I'll fire up the final shots now. Okay guys, so that was the final images there. So let's jump into some behind the scenes actual video footage from the Osmo, and it'll show the entire sequence of about 60 seconds to a minute and a half of the couple walking, everything that was said. It was a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Obviously this is after the meal, so everyone's been drinking all day, and when you're around people you sort of know the vibe and what you can get away with saying and what type of jokes you can get away with. So Dale's shaft was mentioned quite a few times because he was holding my light stand, so it got the couple laughing, which was great, and they felt very relaxed, and we got the photos. So let's have a look at the BTS video, and then we'll have a look at the editing afterwards. So if you just come here, and because we're faking the shot a little bit, I still want to add the movement, so we're literally just gonna...
Are we walking that way?
Yeah, just look at... Yeah, you're gonna walk that way. So literally 2 to 3 steps, just like nice and slow. It's close to that. Dale's behind the wall with his shaft.
That's normal, that, to be honest.
Do you know what? That's perfect. It's right up where I need it.
Right, going.
So
we need good direction, yeah, mind me.
You're just going to look at each other. Just no. Aye. Perfect, Dale. Right, let me just get a quick test shot. Let's have a look.
This is great, Leslie. I honestly believe we should do this every week.
Every week? Perfect. Right, so just take a few steps, look at each other and give us a giggle.
Normal steps.
Yeah, and then laugh at each other. 3, 2, 1, go. Right, and then just hold it there. And I'm going to do a couple more. Keep going. 3, 2, 1.
Oh, more.
Look at each other. Try and walk normally.
Try not be afraid.
Think of Dale's shaft.
I've only got mortified by Dale's shaft. Beautiful.
Lovely.
Dale, you're all right, mate. Bring it round.
Bring your shaft round.
We're trying to get a picture of untucking. Will you get a picture of Dale, please, mate? Can you do it?
You shall not pass.
I've got a good stuff.
He's like Gandalf, isn't he? Okay, guys, so that was the BTS video. As you can see, the couple were very jovial, having a good time. In the presence of Dale bringing the groomsman around to hold the light stand, just give us all something to laugh at, really. And it's just about prompting the couples with those sort of jokes if you can get away with them. And it gets a bit of laughter out of them. But obviously you don't do this on every wedding. So here we are in Lightroom, guys. You can see there's 46 photographs throughout that little session. Honestly, we weren't there very long, as you saw from the BTS footage. We've shot some images with flash and some without, and that's purely because the flash was set at full power, so it couldn't recycle in time for obviously continuous shooting, which I didn't mind on the day because I wanted shots without the flash and WAV to be able to show you guys on this video. Plus I knew the shots without the flash, if I wanted to edit them and deliver them, they would be perfect anyway, so it made no difference. So what we're going to do is have a look at this first image. So Dale has obviously just dipped behind the hedge, and you can sort of see this is one without flash. So now if we add the flash in, obviously you can see that we have the highlights. Let's go to the main, this one here. So these are unedited, this one. We've got the highlights here on the hair. We've got the highlights down the side of the arm. We've got the shadows on the floor. We've got the highlights catching on the flowers and the foliage here. So without those, the image would look quite flat. And it's hard to then, you can fake a sunset, but it doesn't look as realistic. Whereas just adding that in and placing the flash slightly out of frame, you can get away with it. Here you can see we're sort of just shooting through. This is the final shot, and I'll go through the editing of this in a bit. We've even replaced the bottom part of her dress, because if you see this photo here, that was the photo, and we've took away that part of the dress to put a nicer taper in. Just if you're going to go to this much effort on a photograph, you might as well go the full hog and make sure it's perfect. I've even added these lens flare catches, light catches in, and that's a plug-in. and I can move those items around, which is really cool. So let me jump into grid view and I can actually show you that. So if I go to develop, these plugins were around $70, I believe. Meridian presets, so LLFX Flare Volume 1, and there's different ones. So if I scroll over, you can sort of see that they'll appear on the photograph. Now the trick is with these is to put the item in the correct position. So that one would sort of work, and then you can move them around. So if I go into my masks, so mask 2 is obviously this bit here. So then I can actually then drag that around and put it wherever I want. So this has a lot more benefit than getting a sun flare picture and then placing it over the top of the image and using a blend mode. Here you can actually place and move the items around. I can then pull this around and you can sort of see, obviously I can put it wherever I want, but obviously I want it up here. So that's Meridian presets. If you fancy getting a bit more control over your sun flares, that's the way to do it. That was the final photograph, and that's the main one I used. I mean, if I jump through to the stars, this is the main two that I've gone for, which is these. So I haven't added the flares on this one at all. I've just tried to make it look quite natural, and that's my whole point. I don't want it to look overly flashed. So to create a more natural photograph, you want more light, more natural light, and less flash power. Obviously we're shooting the flash with all of its power because it's daylight, but in the context of the scene it's not overly powering, so that's why it looks natural. Again, this just would not look like a sunset if the bride and groom didn't have the highlights on the body. It would look quite flat. So hopefully that shows you that. If I come back out, let's just quickly go through the entire sequence. So edited, a black and white edit, again flash never fired. We'll just keep going through. Again, it's very flat light, you can see, and then difference, just adding the actual shadows to the floor, the highlights around the hair and on the leaves obviously in the back. The trick is when you edit this is to pull the crop so that the flash is just slightly out the top of the frame, like that. Otherwise, if I jump into this photograph here and put the crop back right up here, it doesn't work. Okay, you can tell it's just being dumped in the middle of the photo. It's got to be outside of the frame. I mean, we could probably even pull that in a little bit more, to be fair, but we get away with it. But that would not work on a flat image. So rest of the photographs, nice black and white. I'm just continuing through. And then Dale at the end with his shaft. So that was the sequence there. If I bring up all the final images, so this is the final set of images just from that little 60 seconds to 2 minutes, and it just creates a nice little set. So that was a little behind the scenes of an off-camera flash, but shot in a natural way without going too far into doing dramatic off-camera flash. So I was about to end the video there, guys, but then I remembered I would show the editing. So as I said, I replaced the bottom of the dress because it was a bit too square and the other image had a bit more of a better taper to the bottom. So as you can see here, I've sped this video up. It's about 250% of the original speed, and I'm just lining up what I think is the best. So that was the square part of the dress. So I've just lined up another image and I'm just going to mask out the dress to reveal the other dress beneath to give that better taper effect on the dress. So let's speed it up even more. So I've sped it up now to 500%. So just finalizing that mask, getting in all the nice little details and making sure that everything looks accurate. When you're doing this type of thing, it is just a little bit of trial and error and making sure everything looks correct. You can sort of see here I'm just having a little bit of trouble with the hands, but we get there in the end. The next part of this is to obviously have a look at the shadows as well, so you can sort of see, just trying to concentrate on getting that correct so it doesn't look too fake, so that looks pretty good to me. And then what I had to do is just sort out this fence post next to her arm. Again, didn't really work too well, so I just tried to make it look as best I could. Filled in this section down here where the fence was, just to make sure that it all fit. I had to use stamp clone tool to do this. So just sampling from one part to another and then just filling it in with the brush. You can see there I just missed a fingernail, so I'm just sorting that out. And then that was it pretty much, and we got a much better looking dress, as you can see here from the before and afters. So again, let's put it onto white, and then before, after, it looks way better. So if you're going to go to the effort of making a really nice shot, just put the effort into sorting that out. I hope that helps somebody. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.